Do you know what is special about the hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. on the night of March 12th?
No, sir.
That was the only 2-hour period in which you did not send an email to Mr. Hirsch with the title, "You Can't Make a Tomlet Without Breaking Some Bregs."
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Thursday, April 27th, 2023. I'm Jay Eastkeats here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, has Tass Mellis.
Hey, podcast listeners, this is for you.
Next to Tassie, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o.
Hey, yo. And last but not least, over yonder, it's the apprentice, Eshua Kid.
How y'all doing?
Hey, what's up,
Strong ass.
Hawks fan today, I see.
yes.
Let's go Hogs. Let's get it.
Shout out to the stream team for joining us live right now on YouTube. We love it. Like the vid, comment away. Subscribe to No Dunks. Go get your No Dunks merch over at nodunks.com. Especially this morning if you're a Miami Heat fan or a New York Knicks fan. We got a new Miami Vice
That's nice.
No
Vice.
Dunks tee. That is sexy. You can go get that at nodunks.com. And then this Knicks-inspired No Dunk shirt, which is actually one of my favorites from our sort of
It's a classic.
team logos that we've done. We've had that one for a while, but you can go get it. You can get those in t-shirt form, hoodie form, and all that. All right, man.
What's up, man?
Jump right
agree.
into it.
I agree.
Let's talk,
4
man.
games on last night and a Survivor episode, which, hey, if you're a Survivor fan, come hang later today. 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to start this one a little earlier than normal. Over at No Buffs, its own YouTube feed, its own podcast feed, recapping episode 9 of that one. But yeah, let's begin with the Eastern Conference series. We'll get to the West series a little bit later because the Miami Heat have done it. In defeating the Bucks last night, they officially became the first play-in team to win a playoff series and the 6th number 8 seed in NBA history to knock off a number 1 seed. And once again, Tass, Jimmy Butler and co. did it in fashion, coming back from a huge deficit in the fourth quarter.
How many WTF moments were there in this fourth quarter? I'm so glad I stayed up for this one because literally just head scratcher after head scratcher after head scratcher. I think we could do like a 4 podcast series on the fourth quarter and overtime. But let me just take you through some of what happened because it's easy to forget. I had to rewatch the fourth quarter and overtime just to see what the F happened because the Bucks were up 16 at the end of the third. They're up 8 with 3:18 left. They're up 4 with 14 seconds left. They fouled out 3 Heat players when all was said and done, and they still managed to lose just at the end of regulation. I'll just take you through some of the end of the regulation. I thought a $1:20 left when Drew Holiday was beaten to the ball by Jimmy Butler was a big play. I don't know how Drew Holiday doesn't get that ball. Drew hasn't been. We saw him on the sideline where he didn't grab that ball, and that sure-handed Drew earlier in this series. And then, has Jimmy and the Heat just sucked the life out of some of the Bucks? Yeah, I think they have. That play was big, but just going down to the end, the Bucks up 1 with 6 seconds remaining. They're trying to inbound, and Kyle Lowry is called for a foul against Chris Middleton. It was a weird one. Where the hell are the NBA TV cameras for that one? We didn't get a good camera angle.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's overturned because the Heat challenged jump ball. 6 seconds remaining. Bucks win that jump ball. Giannis doesn't want that ball whatsoever because he was 3 of 9 from the free throw line in the fourth quarter in overtime. He just chucks it away.
Oh,
Chris Middleton somehow saves it, goes to Drew Holiday. Again, the Bucks are up 1. He's fouled. He only hits 1 free throw. 1 was missed pretty badly. And then the Jimmy Butler play down 2 to tie this thing to go into overtime. Again, a really weird play from Drew Holiday for me. He's covering Jimmy Butler underneath the hoop. They're standing under the hoop. The screen setter for Jimmy Butler is on the low block. He's just standing on the post. It's kind of like he held Jimmy Butler's arm and Butler went for a little twirl around him and then came back underneath, but he just did a circle around him. Pat Connaughton rightfully switched Jimmy Butler. A push off on Pat Connaughton, a nice two-hander to the chest, but they're not going to call it. I'm totally fine with that. Again, where the hell is the better camera angle to see that push off NBA TV? But my question after this incredible finish by Jimmy Butler, an incredible finish by Jimmy.
Nice pass, too, from Gabe.
Beautiful execution.
Yeah.
Where was Drew Holiday? What was Drew Holiday doing? He was just standing there watching. Jump. This is your season. This is at least the game. He didn't do anything, so that sends it to overtime. I'll stop talking there because there were so many what the F's. Oh, yeah. Mike Budenholzer with 0.5 seconds left after that doesn't call a timeout. They just inbound.
Nah.
What? What? So
Let him cook.
I just made a little crackle happen there. Yeah, because there's so many puzzling Budenholzer moments. We'll get to that later, but let's just start there. Great play by Jimmy, obviously. Great fourth quarter from Jimmy. 14 fourth quarter points, 6 of 10. But he did miss 2 within the last minute. A wide open shot, a wide open jumper, and then a 3 that he really liked. But credit to Spoelstra and the Heat, gave him a third opportunity. The only guy to take shots within that last minute was the guy. And he said to Spoelstra, give me the ball and give me that play. And he obviously executed. Falling to his right and just tossing it up and in. Wild.
And talking a whole bunch of shit to Drew Holiday throughout the night.
Oh, baby.
Drew Holiday's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. And Jimmy Butler cooked him in this series and in this game. What'd you think of a great little play-by-play breakdown there and just the boneheaded plays here, or the perplexing plays, I guess, from Milwaukee and what they did and didn't do?
Basically, back-to-back games that the Bucks choked away a double-digit lead. I mean, to me, watching it back this morning again, the 4-point lead with a handful of seconds. That's tough to lose when you've got players who can make free throws in Chris Middleton and, theoretically Drew Holiday. It was the free throws, really, that did the Bucks in. 10 for 23 at the line for Giannis. Like you're saying, he did not want the ball in the fourth quarter. Credit to Bam, I think, on that one, was playing incredible defense, but this was not Giannis deep in his bag in this game. Very ineffective in the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, you expect Jimmy to come through in the clutch, and he completely did. There's a lot of concerns with what Mike Budenholzer did this game. The no timeout with 0.5 seconds left, that's a big one. The no timeout on the last possession of the game where they're just freelancing out there. Middleton definitely had a shot at the elbow. Could have easily taken that one. But how about putting Brook Lopez on the court when there's going for a layup at the rim? Someday, a coach will put their tall guy by the rim.
For the Jimmy.
For the Jimmy alley-oop, yeah.
Yeah.
There was 2 seconds left. There's a lot more happening, so it's not guaranteed to be a lob.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
But when you sub out the tallest guy, your rim defender, and put your other tallest guy 30 feet from the hoop, then it is guaranteed to be a lob because you'll take Jimmy Butler out jumping anybody else on the Bucks. He's tougher than Pat Connaughton. He can out jump Drew Holiday, and that's what Drew was doing. He was getting his milkshake drink by Jimmy all night long. Cuts, drives to the hoop, everything. Anything that Drew Holiday threw at him, it did not matter. And that guy's going to be a first-team all-defense player this year.
And he is elite defender, but Jimmy is one of the rare guards that's actually stronger than him, too, and can just put his ass in the basket and just overpower him that way. He was amazing in this series. Jimmy Butler averaged 37.6 points per game, including the 56-point effort there in Game 4, and then 42 here. And despite all of this, despite a bad, rough overtime, the Bucks did have a final possession that you guys were talking about there for a chance to tie this thing, and it ends the saddest way imaginable, probably, for a number 1 seed, a championship contender, a team with Giannis, and all these amazing defenders in Brook and Drew. It ends with Grayson Allen failing to even get a shot off as time expired.
Should have took the floater.
Holy moly.
It was there.
He had a shot, or the 3.
Or the 3, yeah. Shoot it.
Yeah, it was odd who was on the floor there. I mean, they went and got Joe Ingles. He would have made a better play. They went and got Jay Crowder. He would have shot that thing. So, yeah.
Did he even play last night?
A microcosm.
18 seconds, Jay Crowder. That didn't pan out to be anything, the Jay Crowder
Your boy
trade.
Matthews Matthews took a shot there.
Wesley Matthews had a good look.
He was big. Yeah,
he had a monstrous 3 with 3:18 left to put him up 8 points. And that's when things looked decent. But that last non-shot, they didn't get a shot off at the end of overtime. Yeah, the microcosm of their late game execution in games 4 and games 5, most definitely. This team with Giannis and Chris Middleton, who was just underutilized down the stretch, there's no doubt, scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. And Chris Middleton had himself a fantastic night. It looked so good at the beginning. 17 points in the first quarter. He had 28 points through 3 quarters. And he did take a few shots at the end. But really, there's so much on Coach Bud. What works with this offense? The Chris and Giannis pick and roll. And that just wasn't happening in the fourth quarter. We've said it so many times. Bud used the coach's challenge 3 minutes into this game.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That's when he used it.
And failed on it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I think he should have challenged the challenge that the Heat won with Kyle Lowry's. It wouldn't have been. It probably isn't allowed. But anyway, he didn't call that timeout at the end of regulation. Didn't call it in OT. Didn't call one in OT. Just kept those two for future reference.
For the next game in Miami.
Save it for the summer.
Nobody told him.
Yeah. So I mean, if it goes full circle, we've discussed this the Nick Nurse. Where he's going situation. If you remember in 2018-19 when Nurse won the title, Bud turned down the Raptors job. He went to the Bucks instead. If it goes full circle and Nick Nurse replaces Coach Budenholzer, wow, circle of life.
Go get the guitar. Oh, man. It was wild to see this Bucks team look lost in the fourth quarter. Again, really. They finished 5 of 25 from the floor in the fourth quarter and overtime. You got to hit some shots. And then, add on top of that, Giannis just going back to being garbage at the free throw line. And even outside of the paint in this series, is it back related that his jumper failed him or left him in the free throws? Maybe not, but it went back to the older Giannis where, he was actively looking to not have that ball, like you said, on that jump ball. That was a get it out of my hands. I'm more than likely going to miss if they wrap me up here. Yeah. And somehow they kept it, and somehow it worked in their favor to get somebody else to the line, though Drew obviously splits them.
So somebody said that Giannis was didn't want an intentional grounding call, and he was just a quarterback just trying to throw it out of bounds. That's what it was. He just tried to get rid of it as fast as possible. What a save by Chris Middleton.
Incredible save. I thought Bam had his best game of the series in this game. Now, he only shot 8 of 20, but he was a positive player out there, and he had 20 points, 10 boards, 10 assists, so he had triple-double. My favorite stretch from him, though, Bucks were up 6 with less than 3 minutes to go, and he defended the hell out of Giannis in the post. They didn't really send help for him. He stood his ground. He didn't jump on any pump fakes because Giannis was trying to work one way, coming back over the other shoulder. He got the stop. Then he got the rebound. And because it's Bam, he can bring it up. Jimmy came and set a nice, pick for him and then rolled. Bam was a beautiful pass for a big guy. Bounce pass into Butler, who got the and one layup. That stretch to me was massive. And then, with about 1:15 left, Bam did hit a tough little fadeaway jumper. He got a kind little bounce, but he finally showed some touch in that one. So I thought, he picked a great time to have a pretty good game, 20-10 and 10, despite shooting 8 of 20.
He did nothing in the first half, but he came through in the clutch. I thought his activity level went way up. It was just like this. I mean, games 4 and game 5 were kind of identical the way they went.
Yeah.
Giannis did not want to attack Bam, and I think that massive tip of the cap to him because the defense he brought kind of fed into his offense. He was looking to score in the fourth quarter finally, and then he was hitting the glass as well, just in the right place at the right time, whereas Giannis on the flip side was seeing ghosts out there. It was weird to see from Giannis, where the only thing he was looking for was an alley-oop to Brook Lopez for like 12 minutes in 2 of these games, and the guys, their best player, that's why their offense looked weird. Mm-hmm. They needed their best player to show up, but so much found money, I thought, last night as well for the Heat. Gabe Vincent, 4 of 12 from 3. Kev Him Love, 5 of 11 from 3. Dunk Him Robinson, 1 of 2 from 3. Getting those kind of performances in the playoffs. They got it 5 games in this series, which you do not expect. The Heat handed it to the Bucks. This is why it's such a surprise, because this was basically a blowout series.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Yeah, Jimmy just made
They needed a 14-0 run to get out of the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
Right.
The Heat did.
Yeah.
And they couldn't hit really a shot all season long. They were garbage on offense.
Saved it.
Suddenly all these guys are knocking them down.
Jimmy made this team believe. I mean, he did. He just, it was contagious, I think, and it passed down to everybody on this team. And you see that sometimes. They literally just stole it from the Bucks. It was weird to see Giannis. He did have, a drive and a score late in the fourth there, but we've seen it before with the Bucks. They just have to get him on the move a little bit more instead of this trying to back down Bam, who played really solid defensively late. Some rolling.
Yeah. I mean, again, the back injury, I'm
maybe
going to assume coming into play a little bit here with his movement and stuff like that.
He had a hot Middleton, 28 going into the fourth.
Yeah.
Him and Giannis, at least as a decoy, more of that. I know it's easy to play hindsight, and it's easy to play hindsight with even that coach's challenge at the beginning of the game with Bud. But it happened 2 games in a row, so I think it's fair to do a little hindsighting. But
coaches should stop doing this. stop using it in the first half. Stop using it in the first quarter. It's so silly.
It was also Giannis's first foul,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like,
exactly
it wasn't
right.
even his second foul.
Yeah, it's you have to save it for
a
these
good call,
games in playoff games. I mean, you have to, because there's inevitably going to be a bang bang call, and you're like, you want a chance to go take a look at it. Also, buy your team a little rest at the time and all that. So like, that's silly. They got it. Like a lot of these guys, it's not just him. We've seen it a couple times now. It's like, what are you guys doing? And I know it's like every possession matters and all that, and like fouls coming to play.
Was there
but-
anything they would have challenged
They could have
in the fourth
challenged.
quarter? I mean, they had losing the timeout didn't matter. They still got
Still had
spares.
time.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
a timeout. They had a timeout with 0.5 seconds left to draw up
That's
something.
wild. With Brooke on your team, with Giannis on your team, you throw anything at the rim and maybe a foul happens, or maybe you tip it in. You get lucky. Like that's insane.
I think
Like
they
that's
could-
just like the classic Bud face, where he's just like,
Yeah.
come on, wake up, man.
I saw somebody Google and say the first image that comes up when you Google Mike Budenholzer is one of
the
those.
Bud derp face?
Is a
Yeah.
derp face,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And unfortunately, he could have used it with the Bucks down 40 seconds left in overtime, where Jimmy Butler was on the other side of the floor. I heard Weiner and Brendan Haywood, who are calling the game on NBA TV, say, "Why isn't Butler going to get the ball? He's literally just standing on the other side
Yeah,
of the
that's
floor."
right.
And he was saying, "Give the ball to Strus." He was calling the play from the other side. He said, "Give it to Max Strus," because he basically, I think he wanted to take a break. He had done a lot, and so they were up 2. So maybe this is time for a Strus shot. 40 seconds left, and in overtime, and it was somewhat of a tough call, I thought, on Giannis. Strus was so far behind the three-point line that he had to jump so far forward that Giannis's contest was kind of far away, but because Strus jumped into him, they called it a 3-shot foul, and that was humongous. Yeah. And it probably
knocked
wouldn't
them
have been
all down too,
overturned.
right?
No, he had 2 of 3.
Oh, 2 of 3, that's right.
Yeah, Jimmy couldn't do it all, and they got performances. Strus had a big block, 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter on Wesley. He had a strip of Giannis early in overtime, and then those 2 big free throws that Jimmy knew he would get, I guess, because he was calling the play from the other side of the floor. That came in huge. Jimmy Butler only scored 2 points in overtime. That's kind of shocking when you look back. Bam was the leading scorer with 4 points. He was playing point guard down the stretch. Really, it was just going through him, and he fouled out. Still couldn't beat them. This team that was fairly thin. I mean, they played Haywood Highsmith in this game.
They don't have Tyler Hero. I mean, it was an instrumental part to their, lackluster season, but obviously a scorer. Obviously, guys played in big playoff series before. They don't have him.
We usually say that the buyout guys don't do a lot, but they ended up doing a lot. Kevin Love had a big game 1 and a big game 5 in this series. Cody Zeller, I thought, almost had the dagger.
Cody Zeller come and rescue me.
That was all Jimmy as a decoy, but Cody Zeller got a dunk. So those 2 guys, something paid off, and yeah, they got performances. Yeah, Gabe Himson was something, man. He was big.
After the game, Giannis was asked if this season was a failure after being eliminated. He had a lot to say to that question, and we've got a small part of it here. Let's roll the clip.
Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure? That's what you're telling me? No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? Okay, exactly. So why you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports. There's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not. Some days it's your turn. Some days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win. Some other people's gonna win. And this year somebody else is gonna win. Simple as that. We're gonna come back next year, try to be better, try to build good habits, try to play better, not have a 10-day stretch with playing bad basketball, and hopefully we can win a championship. So 50 years from 1971 to 2021 that we didn't win a championship, it was 50 years of failures? No, it was not. It was steps to it, and we were able to win one. Hopefully we can win another one.
So again, that was just a small part of Giannis's very long answer there to Eric Nim at The Athletic, asking about, is this season a failure? He has asked this before to Giannis.
Last
year. And this is his response. Now, some people are saying, heated Giannis. Like, that's the title you see in some places. Do you think that was really heated?
Yeah.
Maybe for Yanni?
Yeah, for Giannis Antetokounmpo, I think that was totally heated.
Okay.
The Greek mannerisms were on 1,000%. I loved every second of it. Giannis finding his voice from quiet kid to being that. Saying to Eric Name of The Athletic, you asked me that last year. And I think there was a little bottled up emotion because at the end of it he said, I didn't have the words, or I didn't have the capacity, or I didn't answer it well essentially last year.
Yeah.
So he wanted to answer it well this year, and he did. I think it was a fair question.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a failure.
Yeah.
They had the best record in the league, and they got beat by an 8th seed, who was almost a 10th seed.
Yeah, and it's all your definition of failure. I can see why Giannis, big picture, sitting back saying it's not. But in the end, they lost. That's simple as that.
Right.
I think if you asked Michael Jordan if he considered those 9 years that he didn't win a championship a failure, probably yeah.
Yeah, now for sure.
Especially once you win the first one. Because like Giannis is saying, these are steps, but they're taking steps backwards. They lost in the second round last year. They lost in the first round this year.
Right.
They're going the wrong way. I don't see how this can't be considered a failure. The guy just went 10 for 23 at the free throw line in a game they lost by 2 in overtime. He's mad.
Yeah.
So he's kind of deflecting, is what it reads like to me.
I think you can have a healthy relationship with winning and losing, which I think he does in big perspective, and he is a champion, and he's had these losing years. But at the same time, you're right. I mean, there could have been maybe a little bit more like, I sort of goofed here. This one's on me, and he's done that before too. So I don't want to say like he always avoids that, because he had a brutal game, dumb fouls, brutal at the free throw line, couldn't hit a jumper again, and they choked. I mean, what happened in the last 2 games, and they lost to an 8th seed that we thought was like, oh my god, is this the worst team in the playoffs?
But you ask a competitive player right when he walks off the floor, did you fail? Michael Jordan would have literally jumped on the table and yelled at that reporter too. I think.
Well, we've seen LeBron do the I lost, but what are you going to be doing Monday morning, you bum? Like, you got to go to your stupid job. I'm LeBron James. It's a different way
Also
to
true.
look at it.
Yeah. And it's all. I think.
I love this, by the way.
it's fantastic.
It's an interesting response. It's sort of refreshing in a weird way, but yeah, it's a failure of a season. You're a championship contender, as you should be. So now what? I mean, the organization has failed you, or whatever, the coaching. You failed your organization? Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think there is a definition of failure that he's thinking about in one way.
Yeah.
And Trey brings up a good point about going backwards, going from championship to second round loss to first round loss. I think it's a malleable word. You want to call failure, whatever you want to call it. But he also, I think, was thinking about last year when Eric Name asked him that question. And he's defending everybody, and we'll see if somebody gets fired. I think it's fair to ask everybody up and down this organization. And when a number 1 seed loses like that, with a guy who's still in his prime in the first round, it's a fair question.
Right. And so do you think Budenholzer will get the axe here? Will sort of be the fall man for losing in the first round? You think that's right?
I think it's a fair question to ask. I don't think he gets fired. I think he's on the hottest seat, though. I mean,
the guy won a championship 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's been the coach for the best era of the Bucks that we've ever seen. I mean, coaches who win championships get fired nowadays. Frank Vogel did, Nick Nurse did, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. But despite the fact that Bud botched things, I don't think you should fire him over losing this series. It is a failure, but too quickly to move on from coaches, I would say. I think it's actually kind of weird that Nick Nurse got fired 4 years after winning a championship. You don't see that happen a lot with coaches. Generally, if you win a championship, you get to be the coach there for a long time before your team turns on you. It doesn't feel to me like the Bucks have necessarily turned on Bud, which I suppose is a good thing. But the questions that were there before they won the championship in 2021, they're raring back.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They're so similar, and that's why it's different than Nurse to me. The offense just was porous. It was bad. We know that Giannis has to move. He can't just sit there, and maybe his back wasn't great on the turnarounds in the post, and maybe his touch wasn't there, and the free throws because of that. But still, the timeouts that weren't called, it's not forgivable. Mm-hmm. You're a coach. Oh, that's literally what you have to do. And you can't fire a guy over one timeout, but there's 2 straight games.
Well, he doesn't make adjustments, is Bud's whole thing.
It's part
And
of
it's
it.
worked,
They didn't
it
get the
worked
ball out
and
of
won a
Jimmy's
title,
hands.
and then it's obviously blown up in their face a couple of times. That's the part. And I'm with you, Trey. It is interesting to be even like throwing out the idea of firing a guy that won the title 2 years ago, but it's also, this is the NBA today. Things move fast. You have Giannis, one of the greatest players of all time, in his prime, and it's like, we got to maximize. So if we don't, and maybe it comes down to how Giannis feels about him in the end, really, about does he want Coach Bud to still be there, but that's why it's like, all right, well, maybe someone else can do it again, but we'll see. I don't take the Bucks as an organization that makes like rash decisions or anything like that. So
It's hard to see an upgrade at coach. Like, Nurse is probably a lateral move. Maybe they could update their shooting coach, because if Giannis makes a few more free throws, they're going to Game 6. Not even a question if Bud is being fired.
let's move over to the other series that ended in the Eastern Conference last night. Maybe just as big as a shock, at least ending in 5. Knicks advanced to the East semis, taking care of the Cavs in Cleveland, 106-95. For only the second time in 23 years, the Knicks are moving on in the NBA playoffs. Bing bong to that. Jalen Brunson, 23 points. Barrett, 21. And New York's depth just downed the Cavs in this game and throughout this series. And here they go, moving on to play the Miami Heat. We'll preview that series on tomorrow's Drop podcast. But the game itself.
Well, less of a surprise than the Bucks and the Heat, just because the Cavs didn't show up for the series. I mean, the Knicks sucked the life out of this Cavs team from the get-go. The Cavs had some ups and downs this season, especially in the second half, but that's why I expected some ups in this series.
Weren't many, were there?
We didn't get any. And the Cavs let all of their missed shots affect the way they're playing defense in this game in the second half. A lot of shots just not going in, and the Cavs just weren't working enough defensively, allowing too many fast breaks. Obi Toppin windmilled on their ass in the second half. They were deflated, and they weren't bringing the level of fight, which they showed for much of the year. And you can see it especially with their bigs, who got outplayed yesterday and all series long. Mitchell Robinson obviously smoked them. Mitchell Robinson had an incredible game again. 13 and 18, 11 offensive boards, and that's a lot of that's effort. He's obviously big, and that was obviously an issue coming into the series. That's what they do. But Mobley and Allen really got outplayed. Combined, they're 10 and 13, and only 3 offensive boards. That's effort, and it's also gang rebounding because we knew Robinson was bigger. So I just say effort with this particular one because it just wasn't there. In the first half, they're basically at the end of it, we're basically even shooting the ball, but the team won that had more possessions. The Knicks were there because they had more possessions because they were out-efforting the Cavs. The bigs just got outplayed.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Mitchell Robinson was the best big in this series by far, which is why I think definitely a disappointing end to a great season for the Cavs, because this was a Cavs-type series. This is played to their liking. It was a defensive series, which the Cavs were the better defensive team in the regular season. The Knicks were an offense-first team. It doesn't seem like they would be, but that's how it went down.
Yep.
It was a slow series. That benefits the Cavs as well, and it was dominated inside. Unfortunately for them, it was dominated by Mitchell Robinson to the point that the Cavs got booed at home in their last playoff game. That was crazy to see. Very little from Julius Randle this series. That should be another check mark for the Cavs, but their stars didn't show up necessarily. Not a great game from Darius Garland in this one, though he was a little bit better, I thought, than Donovan Mitchell, who scored a bunch because he took a whole bunch of shots. But yeah, getting subpar performances from the guards and then the big men getting completely outplayed by Mitchell Robinson, it just kind of shows you the regular season ain't the playoffs, because the Knicks look like a completely different team and the Cavs just look like they were playing their first playoff series.
Yeah, and once again, the Knicks getting awesome bench contributions. Obi Toppin comes in there, 5 of 10, hit those 2 corner threes. Julius Randle left this game with an ankle injury. I mean, he ends the game watching the game like he's a fan there in the crowd. So we'll wait to see the severity of that. That was an ankle injury that he had at the end of the regular season. He had struggled all series long, and then really hurt it in this one, which took him out. And then quickly, hitting 3 threes, 5 of 15 overall, but he gave them a good 30 minutes or so off the bench as well. And that's it. Like, there is almost felt like nobody in this series, probably outside of Randall, if I'm being honest, that played poorly for the Knicks. Everybody played their part. You know, obviously Jalen Brunson is a stud, and he outplayed Donovan Mitchell for the second postseason really in a row here. And then Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson, you guys already talked a ton about. RJ Barrett, 100% convinced now his best 3-game stretch, at least of the season, in a Knicks uniform over these games 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, it was pretty impressive from this Knicks squad, who are now going to have home court advantage in the second round series against the Heat. Like, we're going back to the 90s here, so can't wait for that. Jimmy in the Garden, the way this team is playing, just an awesome performance that shocked a lot of people. Now, we thought this would be a close series. I mean, everyone's like, oh, Cavs in 7, Knicks in 7. Everyone thought it was going to go 7, but no one thought they were just going to be outplayed like this. No, really at every position.
Yeah, when it happens like this, one team is playing better and one team is just playing horrendous. The Cavs just weren't playing anywhere close to their capabilities. And hopefully for Julius Randle, he comes back. You could see when he sat down in the crowd, he shook Jalen Brunson's hand and he said, "I'm good." You could read that one. That wasn't too difficult to read the lips on that one. So hopefully he'll be back, because he started this game better. He had a poor series, most of it, but he did start pretty well in this game, and those shots actually were important. But you could see when a team grows more and more confidence. Like RJ Barrett, for instance, he was bad in the first 2 games. He shot 16% and 30% the first 2 games, but because the Knicks were playing better and sucking the life out of the Cavs, he gets better. And Emmanuel Quickley, he just came off an offer in Game 4. He comes back with a really big one. Obi Toppin, I mean, they were dancing on the Cavs, and the Cavs totally lost it. I think this is a big offseason for Evan Mobley to be more of a guy you can give the ball to, just to work on that, because it seemed like that was coming along, and then it didn't happen in the postseason. The front court really was something they couldn't rely on at all. Both him and Allen averaged under 10 points per game in this series, and I guess we still include the small forward position in the front court. I don't even know who plays small forward for the Cavs. They went away from Isaac Okoro, who actually looked decent off the bench in this one. He was scorching in this one, but they kind of went away from him. So they fell apart. And people saying, well, if Kevin Love was there, like they released him, he would have helped. I don't think he would have helped. I think the way the Cavs stunk, I mean, it trickled down to everybody. The way Jimmy Butler picked up Kevin Love found new life with the Heat, and the Cavs just stunk. And so I don't even think anybody really would have helped. That was it's on Mitchell, it's on the starters, and they didn't show up.
If you were to ask Donovan Mitchell or Garland, I don't know, maybe it happened and I missed it. Hey, was this season a failure? What would they have said? How would they have addressed it last night? Obviously, different circumstances. The Bucks were championship contenders. I don't think anyone had the Cavs in that tier, but they did lose here pretty handedly.
They sure did.
Mitchell would say it's a disappointment. Garland would say still a good season. Yeah. Never made it to the playoffs before, but Donovan Mitchell, this is supposed to be his time to shine.
Yeah.
And back-to-back times getting outplayed by Jalen Brunson, first with the Mavs, now with the Knicks. So I think it would be a disappointment from him. And if you were going to continue to ask people, I think Evan Mobley would say, this is not what I came out here to do. He just looked like he was trying to find his way and did not look like he was ready to be playing in a series this big.
Yeah, disappointment's a good way to answer that question. Because Coach Bud was asked the same question by Eric Name of The Athletic. Disappointment was the word he used. I wouldn't use that word, failure is what he said. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Because I feel like our man Mitchell got some variation of that question.
Did he?
Yeah. But, I think he fessed up and he said, it's on me type thing.
Did anyone ask him, was it weird to not be the best Mitchell in this series?
You love a good Mitchell.
I do. Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
I like Donovan Mitchell, too.
No, I mean a good name. Mitchell name.
Mitchell.
I
It's a
do.
great name. Well, that's where my grandparents sort of live. Mitchell, Ontario. I say sort of because it's actually Fullerton.
That could
An
be a
even
name,
smaller
man.
farm
Mitchell
town
Fullerton.
outside
Mitchell
of Mitchell.
Fullerton.
Mitchell's like, it's known for an old hockey player that I'm drawing a blank on, like an old famous hockey player.
Mitchell Wiggins, isn't that
No.
Andrew Wiggins' dad's name? Or am I
It's definitely not named after him, but there is an old-timey hockey player from Mitchell, Ontario. I could look it up, but nobody cares.
Old Mitchell from Ontario. We can
An
get
old
this.
Mitchell.
No.
Anniversary of Kevin Mitchell's one-handed catch
I
recently.
just saw that. Oh, it's so good.
Hold on, let me look. You guys-
Mitchell, no, I don't need to look it up.
I want to know the guy. You're gonna know this old hockey
Mitchell,
player.
that number 19 Lions quarterback.
Scott. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
man.
No.
Here we go.
Mitchell Miller. Nah, he's from Sylvania, Ohio.
No, guys, I'm not saying the person's name is
yeah,
Mitchell.
no,
Mitchell is his
yeah.
name.
I got it. Howie Morenz.
This is Howie Morenz.
I thought it was a bigger name, to be honest.
Howie Morenz.
Gordy, how did you ask
Howie
us that
Morenz.
question, man?
He won a bunch of cups. You know, with the 24 Canadians, the 1930 Canadians, and the 1931 Canadians. Wow, I didn't realize he was that old. Holy shit,
Wow,
this
I didn't
guy's
realize.
old.
Almost 100 years ago.
This guy was so old that the Canadians, Montreal Canadiens, defeated the Calgary Tigers.
What?
I didn't even know that was a team.
Tigers in Calgary.
1924 it was.
So, okay.
Howie Morenz, born in Mitchell, Ontario. Quaint little town. The only thing I remember, they had a Becker's.
What?
You ever heard of Becker's? No, I was gonna say it's a Canadian
no.
thing. Yeah, it's
Just Boris.
7-Eleven, I guess. type
Okay,
thing, yeah. It was a Becker's that I think you could rent. I'm pretty sure I rented video games from when the grandparents would take me
Yeah,
into
definitely
town.
adult magazines,
Yeah,
Gatorade,
Grandpa was taking me into
rent them.
Becker's.
You gotta
in
bring him
Mitchell.
back.
plastic sleeves.
All right. Like I said, we will preview and predict the Heat Knicks series, which starts on Sunday. Is that right? Game 1 in Madison Square Garden.
That's what Jimmy said.
Oh my god! Oh, that's right. Not Saturday. Do your job.
Jimmy corrected a reporter who
Yeah.
basically said, well, you gonna be geared up for Saturday? Isn't it Sunday? Oh yeah, Sunday. Do your job.
Anyway, we will preview and predict that on tomorrow's podcast, along with the Suns and Nuggets series. So lots to do on the drop. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll talk about the 2 Western Conference series from last night. Don't go anywhere.
What an incredible weekend we had this last weekend, guys. We are right in the sweet spot here in Atlanta. Not too hot, not too humid, not too buggy. You just got the sun shining down. Maybe you got a cardigan draped over your shoulders in a jaunty way. That's right. It's perfect wine drinking weather.
Oh, yeah.
Just sitting on that front stoop, dusk descending, swirling a perfectly chilled Pinot Grigio. Is that hints of peach I'm detecting? Great question. Let me consult the handy information card that came with my first leaf delivery. Now, the script is telling me how much I'm supposed to talk about how much I love sharing all this great first leaf wine with friends and family. Yeah, I do not do that. I hide it and I hoard it. It's too good. As America's most personalized wine company, First Leaf takes the guesswork out of wine selection. You just answer some quick questions about your likes and dislikes, and their experts will curate a selection of award-winning wines tailored to your taste, like refreshing rosés, fun sparkling wines, or spring-friendly reds. Not Shiraz, though. Get out of here, Shiraz. They sent me a Shiraz, and I unloaded that one. I did share that one.
Okay.
David and Ray. They loved it. So, win-win.
Well, I hope you updated your first leaf, information.
I did.
No
I
Shiraz,
did.
please.
I threw it. I was like, Rachel likes Shiraz sometimes, but no.
Okay.
No, couldn't do it. You get to choose how often you receive your wine, and every selection is backed by First Leaf's 100% satisfaction guarantee. And because First Leaf cuts out the middleman and works directly with some of the world's foremost wine producers, you get quality wines at prices much lower than you'd pay at the store. Plus, if you have any questions about your wines, like what to pair them with, First Leaf's certified wine concierge team is there to offer expert advice. I love sharing great wine with my friends and family. No, I don't. I like to hoard it all and keep it for myself, and I know you will too. So give First Leaf a try. Head over to tryfirstleaf.com/nodunks to sign up and save 50% on your first 6 bottles plus free shipping. That's tryfirstleaf.com/nodunks to save 50% on your first 6 bottles plus free shipping. Try firstleaf.com/nodunks.
Back here in the Classic Factory, we're going to get to the Western Conference Series from last night, but Howie Morenz, the pride of Mitchell, Ontario, Tass.
Back to Howie.
3-time Cup winner with the Habs, 3-time All-Star, 3-time Hart Trophy winner, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
That's why you remember Howie Morenz.
I think there's a sign in Mitchell that says, the birthplace of Howie Morenz.
Home of Howie.
Home of Howie and a Beckers.
We got it all in Mitchell, Ontario. I see that young Howie was one of the first 9 inductees to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
That's how old this
People
guy is.
forget Howie Morenz was a bucket.
People literally forget Howie Morenz. They just
think so.
forget him. All right, let's go to the pivotal Game 5 in Sacramento. Steph Curry leads the Warriors past the Kings 123-116 for that 3-2 series lead. Yes, the Warriors won a road game for an NBA record 28th straight playoff series. So we all thought it was going to happen in games 1 or 2 in Sacramento. It didn't. They're down 2-0. They win game 3 and 4 at home, one of them without Draymond, and then they go into Sacramento there. And, looking like the team of old, I would say. The Warriors here a little bit in this one. Kings fought hard. It was still a game. But this is going to be tough for them to overcome here now, having to win in the Bay and then potentially game 7 at home. But what'd you think? Curry leading the Warriors.
I think you're bang on with the way they look like their old selves, and especially how they got so many contributions from a lot of guys down the stretch. They had 4 guys score 20 or more points in this game, and 4 minutes left, you saw the old guys doing it again.
Yeah.
Draymond was feeling so good coming off the bench to start both halves, which is impressive stuff. Feeling it good at the end. 4 minutes left, kind of an off-balance Draymond jumper. What?
Dirk-like, they said.
Yeah.
They were calling him Draymond Nowitzki after the game.
Yeah.
His teammates.
Yes. Yes, his teammates.
I guess. And then another Draymond play going to the corner, back to the ball, and just throwing his arms out like he is playing defense, but coming up with a big steal because it hit his hand, and then the hustle to go get it in the corner before everybody else. That's Draymond. Then Clay hitting a ridiculous leaner from the corner.
Long two.
Over
Herter, but that was wild.
Foot on the line there. And Steph making 2 more shots. Wiggins hitting that shot. That's Warriors ball. Everybody doing it in the end. 2-2. We're in Sacramento. It was a 1-point game at that 4-minute mark, and the team that's been there, done it before, came through, really.
Yeah. And it was all those Warriors championship players that you sort of just went through. I would like add to that. Yeah, Steph had that super high layup off the glass, and then he had the play at the end one where he iced the game by just dribbling around everybody, looking like Howie Morenz out there on the ice,
dangling.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
I think they said 9 seconds of dribbling, right? Like
going
he faked out Harrison Barnes somehow twice. Eventually got the and one on him. It was like Curry was just trying to shoot the highest possible layups he could the entire night, and it was seemingly working for him. 31 for Curry, 25 for Clay, 21 for Draymond, 20 for Wiggins, and 22 boards for Moses Maloney. That's like
right.
Institutional knowledge.
Yep.
We've won a bunch of championships. Here's what you got to do to win a game on the road. The stars got to show up. All of the stars did. They got solid performances as well from the role guys. Dante DiVincenzo made a few plays. Gary Payton II was pretty active. The Kings just kept hitting back, and the Warriors always had a response for them, and that's how you win a game on the road, even if you're a bad road team, which the Warriors knew the plan. We got to get one eventually at some point in Sacramento, and they did it last night.
I mean, Draymond Green with 21 points. I don't want to gloss over that. That's a lot for that guy. 8 of 10 shooting, the Dirk-like fadeaway there in a 1-point game when he hit it. But he just came out looking aggressive and looking to score when he subbed in there. Took 4 shots and scored 6 points in the first quarter. And he sometimes does this. Every once in a while, you get aggressive-looking Draymond on the offensive end. You always know he's going to bring it on the defensive end. But he did that. They sort of needed them all in the end. And it was, I assume Steve Kerr just sticks with this Draymond not starting. coming in, give him a little boost, and then maybe potentially starting the second half like he has. I would assume he would.
Well, he didn't start the second half of this game.
No, he didn't actually.
No,
He ended up game 4.
Yeah, so that's why I thought
good point.
I thought they would go back to that. I was wrong to start the game.
Right.
I thought they would start him on Fox because game back from his suspension there in game 4, he started the second half, but not the first half. And he came off the bench to start both halves in
That's
this
a good
one. And shout outs to him and Kerr for making it happen. And Jordan Poole in his place, I thought, even though the numbers weren't great, doing championship type stuff to start that third quarter. He created 2 turnovers. He had 2 steals there, and he was just playing D. He 6 helpers overall.
0 turnovers.
Yeah.
That's huge for Jordan Poole. That's probably why he's staying in the starting lineup, because there's much less responsibility for Poole, so he can just play more of a scoring, creating game rather than having everything on his shoulders when he's coming off the bench and leading. So, yeah, a really nice night for the Warriors. And then, I mean, the Kings got to be kicking themselves for the shooting. 8 for 12 from 3 in the first quarter. They finished the game with 10 threes, so 2 for 22 in quarters 2, 3, and 4. It was looking like the finger splint was going to be the key for De'Aaron Fox. Hit his first 3 threes, I do believe. Finished 3 for 10, unfortunately, from behind the arc. And after the game, Mike Brown said it has to be impacting him. He's got a little thing at the very tip of his finger. So
there was one turnover he had late. Credit to Wiggins too, like putting the pressure on him. But that one felt like he lost the ball because of the lack of feeling or that little splint there.
6 turnovers for Fox.
Yeah, and 0 for 6 in the fourth quarter there too. So him going scoreless, our clutch player of the year here. Not great timing, but you're right. They went ice cold from 3. They have to hit more than that, spread out amongst the entirety of a game to try and get this back to Sacramento. I think they're still kicking themselves from losing that game 4, if I'm being honest. That to me was like, you could have taken that 3-1 commanding lead, giving yourself 3 chances. They kept coughing the ball up in transition and all of that, but whatever, that's in the past because the Warriors are just looking better and better here. That's what's happening here. Mm-hmm. Looking a little bit more like the Warriors of old era, the championship Warriors. But I guess, it's not over. No. Definitely not over, but they're going to have a, Malik Monk, look, did some nice things. Obviously, they almost had to defer to him as the point guard because of Fox's finger, I thought, a little bit. I thought he did all right, but they're going to need they just need one of these games where those threes fall there in game 6 to try and give him a chance in game 7.
Yeah, it's been a weird series because that's what they do rely on for their incredible offense. But coming into this game, they were shooting 30% from 3 for the series. Obviously way lower than what they usually shoot, and it was still 2-2.
Yeah.
And they did it again tonight. Again, a bad shooting night from 3. Basically matched the Warriors' percentage. The Warriors hit 1 more 3.
Yeah, they haven't been shooting all that well either. That's the crazy part. But that terrifies me because it's game 6 Clay time.
Right. I mean, he looked great in this one. Just a solid 5 threes, obviously. But I think from the Kings side, you had one guy who was hot in the first quarter. Keegan Murray continues his this new revelation of starting to play well in games 4 and games 5.
But then he didn't take a shot.
No, he scored 10 first quarter points in 9 minutes, and then the next 26 minutes, he didn't shoot again, which was really weird. He looked good. I mean, he looks like the most comfortable shooter out there, and I'm shocked. I think it's got to be on the coaching staff and the team to just let him cook a little bit. He looked good. I think Fox, with the finger, he did it. He played 42 minutes. He tried his ass off, obviously, and I know he didn't shoot well, but along with Monk, he was the best guy out there. Sabonis chipped in, but
I think Sabonis needs to step it up a little bit here in Game 6. He's been having okay games. Like, he had 21 points on 15 shots last night, but only 4 assists. He's only averaging 4 assists for the series. And it's because of the way the Warriors are defending him. Every time he catches the ball, they're just standing at the rim.
Looney just drops,
The shots are there. Like, if Sabonis wanted to just take 20, 15-footers, he could obviously do it, but that's not the way the Kings play. They want dribble handoffs. They want cuts off the post. But if his defender's standing in the middle of the lane, those cuts aren't there, which also makes it a problem for a guy like Kevin Huerter to get good looks, a guy like Keegan Murray to get good looks. It's completely taking the Kings out of what they want to do offensively. Sabonis' reluctance to create from the elbow and just kind of inability to do it. Looney's done an incredible job. Draymond has done a great job. Sabonis has not really made his imprint in this series. I mean, how many times did we see this year where he'd have like a 25-point game, 18 rebounds, and 9 assists, something like that? He's been putting up numbers because he's getting the ball enough, but he could definitely force the issue a little bit, I think.
Yeah, we always compare him to Jokic, right? He's like Jokic light. He's Diet Coke Jokic, whatever you want to call him. But I would love to see him have one of those Jokic games where it's like Jokic at times is like, all right, I got to shoot more. I got to be a little bit more aggressive. That's not their DNA. We get it. Like, they obviously are incredible playmakers at their position, but Jokic will do that. I think Sabonis, to save this season, to save this series, to get us back to Game 7 in Sacramento, I'm with you, Trey. I think he has to, like, really... He's got to force the action a little bit. At least give those little jumpers a go there.
He's open.
and shoot that free throw, basically. And just find out if you're hitting it that night, but try and force the action. I think that's going to be... They're going to have to, because Fox has done, obviously, all he can, and now he's got the injury. I don't know. Like, does Fox have another 38-point game in this series? I wouldn't think so, but...
Yeah, Sabonis has to do it.
Yeah.
It's a good point. And the Jokic comparison is good. Jokic has been a leader in playoff series before. This is Sabonis' really first time as being the sort of number one big and a big part of an offense. And yeah, he's got to get comfortable just shooting the shots that are available to him. Mm-hmm. And they are leaving him open at the free throw line.
Yep. The other game last night, John Morant, Desmond Bane, and the Grizzlies stave off elimination. They beat the Lakers 116-99. We don't say the word stave for like 10 months out of the year. Yeah, never.
I agree.
You don't see it. You don't hear it. You definitely don't say it. And then you get into April, May, and June, and it's all about staving.
It's stave season right now.
John Stavis season. That was brutal. John Stamos? I don't know why. It doesn't even make sense.
He's in it. Well, I was with you.
John Stamos. But it's stave-off season, baby.
Save us, Stamos.
Well, why were you with me?
There's a recent headline that he almost got Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen fired immediately from Full House. They didn't get along.
They staved off elimination of the Olsen twins. Yeah.
He was going to get, like, babies fired?
Yeah, they didn't get along.
I hated those babies.
Yeah, and that's what I thought immediately. They were
like, tiny.
They're 4.
Wow, in his defense, he wasn't a dad. He was only an uncle. It's like you know.
He's like that guy that sent the tweet about kids having bad vibes. It's like, sorry, we got to go. Mary-Kate I like, but Ashley,
Okay, well, Mary-Kate and Ashley staved off elimination from Full House. So did John Stamos.
Yeah,
anyway.
Just use her as a stunt double. Mary-Kate can be Ashley, too. That's what he said.
You should have heard what he had to say about Comet. He hated that fucking dog.
Oh, yeah. He's allergic.
Early death. Comet, early death. How did that happen?
Bane and John Morant playing well in the same game. That was a nice recipe for success here for the Grizzlies. Both having monster nights there. And, this was a close game. 1-point game. It was like 3 minutes to go or something in the third quarter. It was somewhat late. And then the Grizzlies just ripped off a 26-2 run, which like bled its way into the fourth quarter. And it was a wrap after that. And I think even the Lakers and LeBron realized as much. They're like, hey, let's get Wenyen Gabriel some run here. We'll see you back in LA for Game 6. But what'd you think here? Or were you shocked at all how this one went down? Your takeaways from this Game 5.
It's fantastic that the Grizzlies got Bane going right now. Game 4 and Game 5. The guy is feeling it. Coming off a 36-point Game 4. They need him. And he was the difference in this one to me. 33, 10 boards, 5 assists, 4 threes to get to that 33 points, along with Morant, who came back from a poor Game 4. They need both of them. As you said, it was fairly close, and the LeBron James factor on the other side. A poor night, 5 of 17, 1 of 9 from 3. They found a pretty good matchup in Xavier Tillman against him. I think he's just solid. He's that monstrous body that can match him physically, especially because he isn't the same guy to leap over guys.
Yeah, he's not attacking really. Yeah. Definitely not attacking mismatches, yeah.
Something's up. LeBron came back really fast from his foot injury, right? Remember they said he had a torn tendon in his foot, but he went and saw the LeBron James of feet, and suddenly he's back playing. But he absolutely, I don't think, looks right in this series. He's never getting downhill. That's why they're able to go with Xavier Tillman. They're like, if anything, he's going to try and take a three-point jumper, and LeBron, the jumper is just not hitting right now. So far, he's 6 of 36. From 3 in this series, so they're able to guard him with a guy in Xavier Tillman who would have never been able to stay on the court with LeBron in the previous 19 seasons of his career. So, I don't know. It seemed to me that that's probably the biggest thing that happened for the Lakers last night is LeBron only having to play 36 minutes and pulling him early so he can get some rest for this next one, because this is not the LeBron we're used to. Even the game that he won for them in Game 4, like I said, it was old LeBron out there. He was going out and having to get 20 rebounds to contribute for his team and just had enough juice left for the most important shots. But looked weird last night. So, yeah, you get a great performance from Desmond Bane and Ja in the same game, I think was the key, like you're saying, Skeets, because Bane played well in a game earlier this series. Ja played well earlier in a game this series. Put it both together, 30 and 10 for both of them. That's a nice recipe.
Yeah, and I know you hear some Grizzlies fans. I know Chris Vernon, one of them. The longer this series goes, the more it maybe favors a Grizzlies team because of their youth compared to really a LeBron-led team.
Yeah, I don't think the Lakers are going to get better as the playoffs go on. I think that's totally fair to say. From series to series, game to game, a little less so, because we could see LeBron turn it on. But I think the athleticism, it's a fair question. But also, there is Jaren Jackson Jr. behind him there, behind Xavier Tillman. And that's, as LeBron's career has gone on, he doesn't want to go up and face guys at the rim after facing a big body. Lots of coaches have tried big bodies before. Throw a Brandon Bass out there. Throw a Boris Diaw. Throw a Gershon Yabusele out there. It doesn't work. Like, just a big, really big bodies. Xavier Tillman is working. He should be faster than him. I totally agree. But the combo...
He's not right now.
He's not. And yeah, I think Triple J being there as well plays a factor. But 5 turnovers, obviously, it really doesn't have to do with either of those guys. That's on Bron. And yeah, shot 29%. That 5 of 17. That's lowest field goal percentage in a long time for that guy, almost a decade. So yeah, he's not right. Could be a spark in Game 6. I mean,
Game 6 Friday night, I believe. Is that right? I think it's every two days here now. Later in the series.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they play Friday night. Don't tell Jimmy Butler. I'm not really 100% sure. D'Angelo Russell, though. He scored the first 8 points of the third quarter. I thought we were going to get what exactly had happened in Game 4, where he suddenly hit a bunch of threes and they were right back in the game. He made it a 1-point game, but that's when Memphis just responded with that huge run. John Morant was awesome. Finished with back-to-back buckets at the end of the third, and then Bane sort of took over at the start of the fourth. But yeah, rough LeBron game. Started 1-7, didn't get any better, but the silver lining is they didn't play 45 minutes, and then he'll try and get his body right for Friday night as they try and close out the series. But
Davis looked good, and I think Barkley made a good comment at halftime about Anthony Davis. They threw Dylan Brooks on him, so who's too tiny, and they sort of encouraged Anthony Davis to be aggressive. And I think that's a fair point. He started just shooting over Dylan Brooks, and that's why he ended with 31, his best offensive game. Is that a good sign? Is that a good sign for Game 6? That he scored a lot? Because then you might not get a great Game 6 from Anthony Davis, or it's just maybe we get that run that he had earlier this season where he was an MVP candidate for a while and looked like one of the best players in the game.
Well, I said heading into the series, to me it was like, okay, for the most part, AD is going to be a bit of a stud statistically, defensively. LeBron's LeBron, though that was a brutal game and he looked quite old or quite banged up or whatever. Those guys are fine. It's going to be who the hell is helping them out here 4 times in a 7-game series. And they've had contributions. Rui's been there. Obviously, we had the D'Angelo Russell crazy little run there that sparked that win in Game 4. Reeves has had his moments, but not in this one. Like, Rui sort of fallen back to earth a little bit. Reeves 4 of 13. Russell 4 of 11 outside that little run, that 8-point run. They to me are just like, is this going to be the Schroeder game or the Rui game or the Reeves game or the Beasley game or whoever? It's that third guy, somebody helping out AD and LeBron. And it's probably more likely to happen at home than it is in a tough place to win in Memphis, but they're going to need some contributions there because Ham is convinced he's got 6 guys, his starters and Schroeder, and then it's sort of a bit of, I guess Rui for the most part has been decent.
It's been good.
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, is it Brown Jr., is it Beasley, is it, Lonnie Walker even got in there for a little bit last night. Forgot he was even on the team. Hadn't seen him for a little bit. But we'll see. We got a bit of a series here. Memphis trying to give us a Game 7. That would happen on the weekend.
Another one to watch. Luke Kennard hurt his shoulder in this one. Did he run into Anthony Davis? I think it was yeah. On a screen. That's a yikes because he's been playing really well. Yeah. They went on a huge run in the second quarter when Kennard checked in for Dylan Brooks. 2 shooters on the court in Bane and Kennard. You got Jaren Jackson Jr., a decent stretch option as well. Gives a lot of driving lanes to John Morant, which I think was a huge part of the reason they went on that run in the second quarter. So if he's not able to go in this next game,
Dylan Brooks.
yeah, it's a double bad-edged sword for Memphis because you're losing the shooting and you're having to play Dylan Brooks more, and he looks pretty broken right now. The trash talk completely backfired in this case. So yeah, get to work on the Theragun on Luke Kennard's shoulder.
Yeah, and I would add to that, the Nard dog can actually play in this series when you have LeBron not really being super aggressive and seeking out mismatches. Like, otherwise, I mean, older LeBron, if the Nard dog's out there, you're putting him in every action and scoring on him every time. But yeah, they don't sort of have that right now. That's not the level LeBron's at. So yeah, they need him. They need the shooting. So I don't know the severity of it. Whether he'll be good to go on Friday night. We'll see. We got to take one more break. But when we come back, a very fun tweet of the night. Don't go anywhere.
Oh yeah, our next partner is a product I use daily, Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens is just one scoop in a cup of water for better gut health, more energy, and a stronger immune system. No more multivitamin pills for this guy. You know how happy that makes me. And no stanky pill taste either. Don't like that. Who knew vitamins tasted this good? It's true. I go water first, scoop second, which reduces powder in the air. I froth mine, and I've recently got a new frother. It's so powerful that it leaves a layer of foam at the top, though. It's more powerful than my previous frother. It's a different texture in the glass. I might go back to the old frother. I've used AG so long, I have frother preferences. So what is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All the things. That's how I start my day, first thing in the morning. AG1 is a small micro habit with big benefits. It's one thing you can do every day to take great care of yourself. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews. It's kind of like No Dunks. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season. Seems a little early for that, but anyway. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/nodunks. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/nodunks to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
All right, back here with No Dunks. Let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow. Twitter.
There were a lot of fire tweets last night. In fact, I was changing my tweet night every 3 minutes. I was like, that's good. I'll go with that one. Oh, that's even better. I'll go with that one. Oh, what about that one? In the end, I got tired and settled on this. But it's a good one. From Alex, @Steven_LeBron. He tweeted, now that we have the Heat-Knicks series, the Heat and Knicks should be allowed to add one player from the 90s to their roster for round 2. Let me see what Charlie Ward and Vashawn Leonard are up to. Great nostalgia tweet there from our guy, Alex, the author of Cover Story. Highly recommend it. He's got a new book coming out about our Raptors. Prehistoric, I believe it's going to be called. Coming soon to a bookshelf near you.
I got a PDF version.
So
baby.
did I.
Yeah.
Have you dipped in yet?
No.
You going to print it? I can't read a PDF on my computer.
I'm not printing that. No.
I know you don't want to.
I don't want to, and I will not.
So you got a
phone.
Kindle? Do you have a Kindle?
I have a phone.
Okay.
I got eyes. I know. I understand. You don't want to read that many pages.
No, I can't. I'm blind.
Don't you look at a computer all the time?
Exactly. I don't want to. The time I want to read an actual book, I'm printing. I'm gonna go to a Kinko's and print.
It's called prehistoric. You can't read that on a computer.
I gotta read like an actual tablet.
Yeah, you gotta get
carved into it. Yeah. Chiseled into it. Anyway, what a tweet, eh?
What a tweet, eh?
Wait,
Who are your favorite 90s Knicks or Heat players that you'd like to see added?
Kurt Thomas.
Great one.
Gets to play for both teams.
That's fair. That's the ultimate fair move here.
It's the ultimate fair move.
Home team gets
All-time
Kurt Thomas.
Yeah. I'm the all-time screener. You need me to be at the top of the key.
Screen? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Anyone else you'd like to see from the 90s?
I want to make sure that there's good shooting in this one. So I want Allen Houston.
Okay.
Let's get totally.
Vashawn Leonard, I guess. Good.
And
shooting.
Vashawn. It's just great to see Vashawn written again.
Oh yeah.
It's nice.
Really good.
A V name. Don't get enough of those. Don't get enough Mitchells. Don't get enough
Charlie Ward.
V names. And Charlie Ward. Yeah, I heard Jeff Van Gundy mention him on a broadcast recently as well. Because this series could happen. So yeah, I've been thinking about Charlie.
Are we gonna have a Van Gundy on every game of this series? Obviously, Jeff Van Gundy, Knicks head coach, Stan Van Gundy, Heat head coach. Not from the 90s, but, you know.
Let them coach against each other. Let them coach these teams. Why not? Broadcast when they're not. Bring back Tim Hardaway and Tim Hardaway Jr. as well. They never played against each other in this series, but they both played for a Heat and a Knick.
Did see a funny
They
response.
should be on the bench, too. I mean, Jeff on the Knicks bench and Stan on the Heat bench. Yeah.
Funny response or funny reply to at Steven_LeBron's tweet from Hollinger. He said, how about Haslam? John Hollinger has jokes. That guy has so many damn jokes.
John jokes.
He really does. He's got a Twitter joke for everything. And they're all pretty good. Yeah, they have good puns, good lines. But man, you are logged on, John Hollinger.
Not good enough to be tweet of the night, though.
I can't make that the tweet of the night. This is the inspiration.
No, I know. But he has so many
night.
tweets.
Oh,
I don't think
he's won a tweet of the night. Yeah,
Nope.
come on.
Nope, he hasn't.
John,
All right, I'm gonna
No, he has.
all
look at his
the
recent
Johns
tweets.
we know at some point have had a tweet of the night. Schumann, Hollinger,
Why is his
Jenkins.
Twitter avatar and his Twitter header the exact same thing? It's like you get double John.
I think he's showing that, I used to be legit verified. Legacy verified.
Oh, that was part of his header. Got it.
Dear John. Okay.
Life goes on.
Good stuff. Tonight's game, only one of them. Celtics Hawks. Kaka! Game 6. Who's going down to the Fortress? Show of hands. Show of hands? Nobody's going because you know why? The NFL draft is on tonight, gentlemen. The Athletic Football Show is covering the NFL draft from Kansas City on their YouTube channel. So you can check that out. The Athletic Football Show, they do an incredible job covering the NFL. And I would need the help here when it comes to the draft. I think Bryce Young is a lock to go number 1 to the Panthers. And then it's up in the air. And then what are you doing? You take a big guy that blocks, you take a guy that throws. You don't take a running back. I know that. You do not draft a running back anymore. You idiots.
I saw on theathletic.com that the Atlanta Falcons are mocked to take a running back.
No, don't.
I don't know. They've been taking QBs. They've been taking TEs.
They need some defense, man.
WRs.
They need some defense. Go get me a cornerback.
That's right. That's right.
Ash, who are they going to draft? I'm sure you're a fake Falcons fan.
Oh, Jesus. Shots fired.
The shots I do not appreciate.
Mike.
Well, you're wearing a Hawks zip up with a Celtics shirt underneath. Come on, man.
Not today. Not today. I got to rep the Hawks. But I don't know anything about football at all.
I thought you were a Falcons fan.
No, I'm not a football fan whatsoever. Okay. No idea.
Same.
But Celtics Hawks, any feel on this one? Do you think we go a Game 7, baby, or do you think Celtics take care of business? I
have zero
flip
feel.
a coin. It does. You have zero feel.
Zero feel. I think the Celtics will bounce back, but they also were up late in the fourth quarter. They're good enough to bounce back. So I would pick them, unfortunately.
TK?
It'll be interesting to see if the Boston Celtics decide they want to play defense in this game. They've given up 130, 121, and 119 in Game 5. That has coincided with Trae Young finding his way in this series, basically putting up 30 and 10 every single night. We had a bad Marcus Smart game in Game 5. He made some bonehead mistakes down at the end of the game. So that's a guy I'll be watching tonight because I imagine he's going to want to make it back to his team. So should be a tough one for Trae Young. They're going to get DeJounte Murray back. We got a home court advantage here in Atlanta. Should be lit down at the Fortress, but none of us will be there. So maybe the Hawks have a chance.
I mean, like I said, I just have to avoid this for the Hawks' chances of giving us Game 7 because I've seen them lose twice in person. And I know if I were to go down there tonight, and our guy Jared, he already texted me. He's like, hey, you want to go? I said, no, I can't. If I go, they'll lose by 25 tonight. I'm 100% convinced by that. So I'll stay away, and maybe we get a game. We've got 5 of these 8 first-round series that are already wrapped up in 5 games or less. And it almost feels, in a weird way, like the Hawks inexplicably are our best chance at a Game 7. Grizzlies, I guess, could. They could beat the Lakers. Kings, I don't feel as strong about going into Golden State and knocking off the defending champs there, or at least giving us Game 7. So, man, yeah, come on, Atlanta. Get Zaza out there. Give him a mic after the game, and hopefully we get a Game 7 on the weekend.
They gotta at least have that as like part of the pregame package, right? Like they'll play that Zaza clip. I have to imagine. Standing room only tickets right now, $59 each.
That's fantastic. But holy crap!
Means it's a big game.
Yeah, it is. And
It's higher than normal.
you know what's happened though? I think us talking about the standing room only tickets like over the last couple of years and how it's the best deal in the world, gets you in there.
Yeah.
It's not bad, like your viewing experience. The cat's out of the bag. There's too many people now. Standing room only, right? You saw it the other night.
Packed.
It's
Yeah, it was
packed, man. Like you can maybe get away with it because you're taller, so you can be a couple rows back. But even then, you got like a tiny window
very small.
between the top of the ceiling there and then where you can see down. So I'm just saying, man, if you go SRO, you got to get there early, plant your flag, bring a catheter, wear a catheter, don't bring it.
You're gonna want to pre-install your catheter.
Yes. Well, you have to take it off at security and put it through the X-ray machine. Then you put it back on.
SRO tickets for the Kings are apparently $190 according to the chat, according to Philip A. in the chat.
But you know what's funny about these Hawks tickets? Like they're standing room only. I get it, but I feel like other arenas have actual SRO areas. That's a little bit more
newer arenas.
This is just like. This is the concourse, and we're like, hey, you can come up here and
hang in the concourse,
stand behind a rope and sort of see.
They did the reno to sort of open.
Yeah, they opened it up. Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the destinations. You go hang out at a spot.
Right. Now it is nice. You're usually right by the bar. Pisser's right there. Yeah, Bob's your uncle, but you just got to get there early because I couldn't believe it when I was there in Game 4, and I had seats luckily. But holy, it was like 6 people deep. For the SRO, all around the lower bowl.
It's great to stand.
You like it? Feels like you're working out almost. You don't feel as like much of a.
I just feel free. Yeah.
You bounce around.
More high fives. I think the high five percentage is higher in the SRO
I'd
areas.
agree with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie there, a lot happening.
Yeah, because like when you're in your seat, you need. Like, sure, you can turn around, give some high fives, but you also need the people ahead of you to turn around and give you high fives, right? You feel a little weird. Hey, man, tapping on somebody. Turn around, give me a high five. Okay, good.
But hold on a second. You're saying you don't got to coordinate that when you're doing a standing room only?
I just think it's more. We're in a mosh pit.
Everybody's hands are out.
Yeah.
Already. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not occupied. Less phone use.
You're standing already. It's weird to high five sitting down. Like you want to stand if your team does something well.
Yeah, but come on, like I mean, something exciting happens. Yeah, you're standing anyways.
Standing.
Yay! You're not sitting down and high fiving. I agree. The excitement brings you out
we're
of your
just saying
seat.
you're already in the standing position in the.
You're already
SRO.
prepped to high five. I guess that's true.
I think all the people sitting are watching the Athletics coverage of the NFL draft.
That's possible.
Nice one.
Possible.
I think that's a decent combo.
Though,
actually.
hold on. A counter is if I'm in SRO, I'm holding my beer, one hand out of high five in commission. If I'm sitting, I got my little cup holder. Yeah. So now I'm.
You could go 2 hands, but I mean that. I will say that does rarely happen. the stereo high five.
It's pretty cool. If you had an entire row do it, like big dunk, and everybody just stood up and went boom, and it was like.
That'd be better than the wave.
Yeah,
they would call that the pulse. Like it just goes.
That's cool. All right, guys. Enjoy that Celtics-Hawks game tonight. Enjoy the NFL draft if you're into that, you sickos. If you are, make sure you go over to the Athletic Football Show and follow their coverage on their YouTube channel. If you're a No Buff Survivor fan, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, we are hopefully going to get this one started a little earlier than normal, so come check that out. Otherwise, back tomorrow with the Drop Podcast. We will preview and predict 2 of the series that we know, and I guess possibly one more. If the Celtics take care of business tonight. I don't know if we want to slip that in Celtics-Sixers into tomorrow's show. It's going to be an action-packed Drop podcast. So we'll see you live at 10 a.m. Eastern. Until then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, we won't be at the game tonight.
Should we do playback?
I got nothing.
What? See, that'll never work. We just tried to do a simultaneous.
Okay. Oh, see you on playback. Let's go.
How do you know who
Stand
goes
up.
first?
There you go.
The pulse will never work.
Embrace the fake people. You gotta believe in the pulse.